Whoops.
Don't make me go through that again.
Hi. How's it going?
Good morning.
Good
Happy
morning.
Monday.
These are the things that keep us feeling alive, right?
What, little errors and mistakes? Yes, that's part of the human condition.
How was your weekend?
Pretty good. Just, still settling into the home and getting all settled. Yeah, renos are like full swing here. So we spent the weekend cleaning up all the stucco and drywall dust from everywhere.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
I hear you have a giveaway today. What are your giveaways?
Oh, not online. Well, but I posted to Facebook a few things. I was going to sell them, and then I decided I'd just give them away for, well, the cost was going to be the best worst joke. So people have been posting to my Facebook page some pretty bad jokes. So yes, I'll be doing that later today on my Facebook page. So yes, I can.
Okay, to go to Andrew Plank's Facebook page, post a joke on the thread.
Oh, too late.
You already chose it?
That offline. We're not doing. It's already spoken for. Today was the drop dead day for the most likes. So they've got their likes all figured out. I'll do it again. Yeah.
I liked a lot of them. So
yes, there were a lot of good jokes there.
Okay, so today we're going to start with our real estate update, just our market update, just see what's going on. I'm feeling like it's going to be strong. Let's see. And then we're going to go to our guest, Yanna King, and she's going to be talking about aging in place.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So welcome, everybody. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group of Remax Cabosa, and this is
Andrew Plank with Royal LePage.
And we're the hosts of
He said, she said, they said.
This is a real discussion on real estate in Victoria. All right, so let's get going. So,
yeah. Wow.
762 sales to date.
Yeah. And 577 still for November 2019. That's the same as last week.
Yes, because that was 2019. So we are up over last year for November.
Last week we were matching November 2019 at 577. So a week ago, our net unconditional sales was 577. We've gone up to 762. Quite a jump. Yeah.
Which is very unusual. I usually find the market is slowing down at this time of year. Feels like it's still
really, really active. Absolutely. I mean, new listings as well is up over the same month last year.
Yeah, 801 this year, over 750 last year, but we're still down overall in listings.
Right. So we're almost 400 listings less than we were at this time of year last year.
Yeah, $18.99 versus $23.97. And then what you'll see normally is a decline at the beginning of the month. This is if you really want to sell, you should keep your house on the market for the next few weeks at least, because anybody looking now is very serious. Okay, new listings over the past week.
You're asking me?
Yeah, low, 128.
128 new listings. It does, as we said, tend to slow down. With December.
Yeah, with 192 pending, which it just speaks to the point I was just talking to you about, that if you want to sell, now's a good time to list, because you are very, very likely to sell your home if the list pending ratio is like this. So it's basically you have like 150% chance of selling your house.
What this suggests, yeah, so more than 100% chance of selling your house. You can sell it for 1.5 times, in fact. What this really says is that there's more buyers out there than sellers. And so, more buyers out there than sellers. And so when you talk about supply-demand ratios, you're definitely in a good place for selling.
Right. And the sold number here, which is over 400, means that those houses have now gone off the market totally. They're unconditional, and the new buyer has moved in.
Really, when we look at this number every week, that sold number is actually not so relevant as the pending number. the pending numbers, what we're seeing in real time as to the people who are actually agreeing to purchase a home unconditionally. Sold is just when those transactions actually happen, and those could have been set up months ago.
Yeah. And usually closings are like between 6 weeks and 3 months behind what's actually going on in the market.
Yep.
Awesome.
There you go.
Okay, so good time to list. Pardon?
I was going to say, let's talk to Yanna and start talking about aging in place. This is getting old.
Welcome, Yanna.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you.
You too.
Nice
Thanks
to
for
see
joining
you.
us today.
Thanks for having me this morning.
Yeah.
So Yanna's going to be talking to us about aging in place. Yanna owns her own design firm, right? What's it called?
Just my name, Yanna King, Interior Design.
And where is it located?
It's on 2nd Street in Sydney.
Awesome.
Sydney by the sea.
So if you're interested in talking to Yanna at the end of this presentation, you can reach her here. We'll have this information at the end, but yannakingdesign.com. Awesome. Okay.
Yanna King, Interior Design.
Oh, sorry. Interior. I did get it right.
It's all good.
So we're talking about aging in place.
Maybe before we go into the talk, maybe Yanna, you could tell us and tell our viewers a little bit about your interest in working with folks who are aging in place.
Well, I have found that people who are above 60 are really thinking long and hard about how they want to spend the next 20, 25 years. And there's two kinds of tendencies. There's either the people who want to downsize and travel a lot, and they want to just get rid of that big old house and use their money to do beautiful life experiences. And then there's those who are very emotionally attached, who would like to have their grandkids come and visit them in their home. And they really want to stay there just as long as possible because they can't imagine themselves in a small condo. And they're very different type of people, but they're all really fun to work with. And my parents, I would say, have been doing these kind of thoughts for the past 10 years, and I've witnessed them. And I've also witnessed some deterioration in their health. And so I got very interested to working with that age group. And I help both. But today we're talking about aging in place. Downsizing is a whole other subject we can talk about another time.
Do you find that you work with the parents or with people like me who are sandwich generation, Andrew too, sandwich generation?
Usually it's the people themselves, the owners themselves that I work with, but I often do get to meet their families.
Right. And I imagine like us, when you're helping somebody with that renovation and the child comes in, they might have a different perspective.
Yeah, but you know, that's also, there's different perspectives between spouses too. So that's just part of my job. I see myself as an educator. So I really love to just tell people what the options are and help them find the solution that best fits their lifestyle.
Right. So the reason why we wanted to talk to Yanna today, as Andrew so eloquently put it last week, is now with COVID, a lot of people are wanting to age in place. Mm-hmm. We just recently had a scare of an outbreak on one of the home cares in Saanich. And by the way, an outbreak at a senior's home means one person. Did you know that?
Yes. Didn't know that.
So a lot of people are planning to try and stay in their homes so that they are able to, I guess, control a bit of their lifestyles. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I have helped a friend of mine actually here in town. Her mother was in Amica when we first heard about COVID, and she was in the independent living part. So she decided to take her out because she couldn't bear the idea to not be able to visit her, and also what would happen if she wouldn't be able to get to her when she's sick because there was no visitors allowed. So her mother has Alzheimer's. Very early onset of it, and we created 2 bedrooms in each of the sisters' homes, and they're making it work, but it's a big commitment.
It is.
So would you create the bedrooms to be very similar to each other? Is that when dealing with someone with dementia?
Sadly, it wasn't possible because the houses are very different from the two
Right.
sisters.
Yeah.
And, but I helped to choose some of the furniture that the mother had in the independent living part. That was her own furniture and her own pictures. Those are very important items, personal items,
yes,
that people are very attached to, more so than a bed. It could be an armchair, a favorite armchair, or a picture that has some meaning.
So go ahead. Go ahead, Andrew.
Sorry, what's the key? What are the key? Well, you've got key benefits of aging in place on your list here. I was going to say, what are the key factors that you look at? But do you want to just...
I would say that if you get to stay in your home, it provides you with a lot of flexibility and freedom and choices. So you really have control over the way you live. You live in your neighborhood with your friends and neighbors who you've probably lived with for the past 20, 40 years, some cases. And you can really develop a care program that has the potential to grow, right? So you might not need Meals on Wheels yet, but you might need somebody to come and help you in your garden at first, and then maybe later in the house. And this sort of saves time and money and resources as well, because, as long as you're very active and can take care of your certain things around your house, then why would you pay that to, let's say, strata fees in a condo, for example?
That's definitely one of the conversations that I've had with sellers over the years, where they're talking about the fact that this house that they're living in, as they look around, they say, this is getting to be too much work for me. I'm getting older. My joints hurt. I don't want to be kneeling down in the garden right now. And when you talk about going to a strata where you are paying a strata fee and some extra fees, there is a benefit to maybe just saying, well, why don't you just take some extra money and just pay for somebody to come in and do the gardening? Then you're not paying the realtor for the realtor fees. You're not paying you're saving yourself a lot of money if you can push this off a little bit further. And as you said, it's so nice to be able to stay and maintain your lifestyle that you've had for so many years.
Well, you get to still enjoy your garden, right? You still get to sit on your patio. You can still go out with your morning coffee and sit on your bench, and it's still your home and your garden. You just get a little bit of help.
Yeah, so pushing the boundaries a little bit for making sure you can get the most out of this home that you've invested in.
So one of the things I found is, as Andrew said, it's the cost. People looking at the cost of moving versus the cost of staying and having the care. If somebody does choose to move, what are you looking at in terms of their home?
Well, I think there's a lot of things you need to think about. First of all, how long are you really planning to stay in the home? Like how long do you envision yourself to be there, until you get carried out in the coffin? Or is it going to be, maybe just for another 10 years? And I think that plays a big role in the factor. Also your overall health that you're in. And also the possibility of maybe looking at creating what we could call an in-law suite. So maybe one of your family members' grandkids could move in, help look after you. Maybe you could give it to a caregiver who could live there full time and look after you. Those are all possibilities, but that would mean that you would have to be able to have your bedroom, your full bathroom, your living room, dining, and a kitchen all on one floor, so that you can age without having to take stairs.
So you're talking here about basically one level living.
Yes, one level living. Yes, and not only one level living, because sometimes small houses, like bungalows, obviously are very conducive to this kind of living. But you also need to make sure that the rooms and hallways are big enough in case you end up having to have a walker or a wheelchair. Like my father, for example, he was always very good on his feet, but then both his knees and hips gave out, and he had several operations, some of which didn't turn out so well. And so now he can't really walk without a walker, or sometimes needs to sit for a little bit of time in a wheelchair. So luckily his house has very wide doorways. You need at least a 32-inch clearance there. So that requires a 36-inch door. Most interior doors are not that width, so you'd have to alter your home.
And I'm seeing on these pictures here that the entryway, they're subtle, but there are ramps.
Yeah, I mean, these are beautifully landscaped things. My father just has a metal ramp that you can put over the stairs leading up to his house. They're not as attractive, but of course, as a designer, I try to make it look beautiful and not so much that somebody lives there. I mean, people have this feeling when you lose your mobility, you become very aware that you're not the same person anymore. You don't walk as proudly anymore. You might think people look at you funny and think, oh, look at this person looking so hunched over. And I mean, this is, of course, things that are going on in the people's minds. But if you can help them have still a beautiful home and not know that a handicapped person lives there, then that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, do you want to talk to this slide?
This, let me read it. There's a lot of homes. What I was thinking about when I was listening to you talk, and the fact is that not all homes have, the 36-inch doors, as you said. And, when it says here entrance, at least one no-step entry with a cover. If you have a home that really isn't conducive to this, there's still things you can do to help maybe bridge the gap, I would say, or help people to age maybe more comfortably than they would have. So I guess what I'm saying is, if there's someone watching this and thinking, well, my home, there's no way we could ever make this work, there are things you can do to make some parts of it better, so you can create that feeling of more comfort for persons that can want to.
You certainly can. I mean, you don't have to have a ramp to your house if you're not in a wheelchair and you're fine on your 2 feet, and maybe you don't have that many steps. But you can also think about ways, like think a little bit outside the box. Maybe you have stairs to your front door, but maybe you have an entrance around the back of the house, or you could use one of the extra bedrooms to put a patio door in. Right. And enter that way and make that a beautiful entrance. So design-wise, there's many things that we can do if you just allow yourself to think a little bit about around the perimeters that you're given, right?
Right.
So just because the front door is to the left of the house doesn't mean that you have to use it. We can find you a different entrance that's more comfortable for you to go. But I think the main thing will be for you to think about your kitchen and bathroom design. And I often find that people, as their children leave their homes, are starting to think, oh, well, I paid for university, now I have some extra money. I think we should renovate the kitchen or the bathroom. I've always wanted a beautiful kitchen and bathroom. And there are certainly things that we should take into consideration as we age. For example, how we organize the interiors of our wall hang cabinets. The lady here at the top right corner, for example, this is a beautiful company out of Germany called Kesselböhmer, and they do service the North American market. And they have these fabulous internal organizers, and you can see, like, it's the top shelf. It just comes down. She just pulls it right down, and it's very easy access. It comes down in front of the other shelf. That's something that I think is very worthwhile investing in if you're planning to stay in your home when you're older and you can't reach that top shelf anymore, for example. Or the one to the left, where you open the door and the back slides forward, the back shelf slides forward, and the other shelf's attached to the door.
I would love that anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, June and I were talking even last week about how a lot of people leave their homes. They live in their homes for years, and they go to sell them, and they do some fix-ups, and they say, why didn't I do this years ago? And these are the kinds of things which just, function and space saving and storage are a big deal. They kind of under the hood things that people don't see right off the bat, but they're the things that make living in the home so much more comfortable. And why wait? I would take that now. Absolutely.
And another thing to think about would be we usually just, in kitchen design, we usually just put a whole row of base cabinets. But if we would allow ourselves to leave a bit of a gap and maybe just put a drawer and not a whole base cabinet, then we could easily pull up a kitchen stool. Like at the bottom, you can see the sink, as well as the island has an area where you could pull out with a wheelchair.
Yeah.
But you could easily just do that also because you're getting older and you don't want to be standing for an hour in the kitchen while you're cooking the meals that you still love to cook, and you'd like to sit to chop your vegetables or do your dishes. Take a little bit of that back pain away that comes with standing for long amounts of time.
The other big issue, I think, is also bathrooms, right?
Yeah, well, yes, they are bathrooms, but you're just looking at appliances. This is another thing. Like if you're investing into new appliances, there's a huge selection out on the market now that make things so much more easy for you. I'm looking at the Fisher Paykel dishwasher, for example. Here.
The double doors.
Double drawers. So easy to get in and out. But even if you don't want that, if you would just put your dishwasher into a wall cabinet and elevate it about 15 inches off the floor, just like the washer and dryer on the right, you'll have so much easier time to get in and out of it. Then, of course, there's, as you think about cooktops, people like to cook with gas, and it's hard to convince someone who's been cooking with that to go maybe to an induction cooktop. But as you age, and even if you have young grandkids, it's so nice not to have to worry about whether you turned it off or not and whether it's hot or not. So induction cooktops are really great for that. And then faucets that have sort of built-in heat controls, so you never scald yourself, and you can maybe just, instead of using a knob, you can either have a lever or just a touch to turn it on. Some of them even have like something you turn on with your foot down below the kickboard.
We're moving into a time where there's a lot more opportunity to use the smart systems in a home, and they're starting to integrate and work really well together. So we're moving closer and closer to the Jetsons. One thing I've noticed in what was that, Jane?
Turn on the lights.
Oh,
that's right.
One thing I've noticed is, and I don't like it, I'm 6'4", and a lot of kitchen designs I've seen in recent years have taken the microwave and taken it off, from above the stove, and they're putting them down into the island. And being a 6'4" person, I've never lived in a home that has that, but I just imagine having to bend over and deal with all that.
So what you need is a microwave drawer.
Yeah.
What you need is a microwave drawer.
Yeah, that's the thing.
In your island, you can it's like a drawer that pulls out, and you put your dish from the top inside.
Okay. Oh, that would be great.
I don't have a picture of it here, but
I've got one of those on a lever, but I find that the lever does those lock. So that's the other thing, is there's lots of moving parts people just have to be aware of, I guess.
You could put it above the oven in a wall unit. That's another nice place to put it.
That's where it's traditionally been seen, but a lot of the more modern places tend to put them. And I guess people are trying to move away from microwaves, but I'm just saying that some design doesn't take into account.
I would say that the steam ovens are definitely replacing microwaves, but it's a whole different budget, so not everybody can afford that.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk bathrooms.
Yeah.
Yes, bathroom's a big one. So if you are renovating your bathroom, even if you're not planning to do any of the fancy things I've given you here, some photos of, like a sink you could roll up to, think about grab bars. Because, Andrew, what do you think happens if I put a grab bar into the tile and drywall just like that? And I fall and I pull and I hold myself up on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, first, grab bars need to be really well positioned, I guess, for safety. But the other thing is, if you're going into tile, those grab bars are there forever. You have to retile probably if you're gonna.
That's what you think, but no, grab bars need a backing.
Oh, okay.
You have to either be sure to hit the stud, or you need to reinforce the wall. So here's what I want you to think about. Everybody who's doing bathroom design, and who might be in their 50s and wants to stay in the house for 20 years. Okay, here's what you're going to do. As you're taking the drywall and everything down to the drywall, you plan your design, and you know where your bathtub goes and your shower and your toilet. And what I need you to do is reinforce the wall, the drywall. Cut a piece of drywall out and reinforce it with some plywood around the studs, so that later in 10, 15 years time, we have something we can screw those grab bars into.
Right.
And they won't come down with you.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing. Yeah. That's the one real fear with those grab bars is, and especially if you're buying a home where it's already installed, you don't know how well it was installed.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So one of the easiest ways that I found, well, one of the things that I found that people really focus on when they're looking at making it accessible is the stairs. So in looking at the functionality of still living on 2 different levels. Do
Yes.
you recommend
I think
these?
you can make it work. You can even make it work without an elevator or a lift, as long as you're still good on your 2 feet. What I would recommend is really think about visuals, right? As we age, we're just not as good anymore seeing in the dark. So you want some night lights, or you maybe want to install some LED lights near your stairs. You might want a different color riser than a tread, just so you can see where exactly you're stepping. And you want handrails for sure, so that you can hold on to in case you do trip.
And you should keep in mind too, even if you're aging really well and healthy, obviously health can change and quickly, but you may have, if all things being equal, you're getting older, your friends are getting older, your family is getting older. So don't just do it for yourself, do it for the people coming to visit your home. I mean, having the contrasting treads makes a lot of sense. You don't want somebody stumbling down your stairs who's not familiar with your home. I mean, you might know
absolutely.
every inch of your home and by feel, but somebody else may not.
Yeah.
And
so
you can have fun with that too. It doesn't just have to be painted and wood like we see in the pictures here. You could even install some fun tiles all the way up. Do something decorative, or
absolutely,
or put a little bit of carpet, or just on the treads, not on the risers, and
right,
just glue down carpet tiles, sort of thing. They're nice options nowadays that you can get. They're not. Design has evolved a lot when it comes to.
Do you find people are doing that now? Like, are they thinking about it? Is it a factor?
It's funny because I was at a friend's house, and she's about 12 years older than me, and it was in Quebec. This was last year, and I was visiting in her house, and she had these really fun carpet tile that she had stuck onto her treads, because she said, I just keep slipping on these wooden treads. And she had little ones with like little animal paw prints on it, because she is a real animal fan. It was cute.
And that's the thing. Design isn't just about, isn't for necessarily for other people when they come to your home. It's about, the use of your home, and also just your very own enjoyment. So that's you really
absolutely. It's a form of self-expression, I would say. Yeah. A home should be a reflection of the people that live there and the experiences that form their personalities.
As realtors, we often have to get ourselves out of our heads in terms of, I'm not the one living in this home, and the things that this person is loving about the home may not be something that I would personally like, but this is really an expression for them, or something that's really important to them. This is a, don't get in the way of that.
Yeah, and you probably meet a lot of different people, right? So your one client might feel this way, and the other client feels that way. So it's really trying to help them.
Exactly. Yeah. Now I'm looking at this picture of the elevator, Yanna, and I'm seeing, I've worked with folks in the past, and I've seen some homes where they have, maybe there is no elevator, but it would be really helpful to have one there. And
yes, you can retrofit them as long as you have enough space. So for example, a 4-foot staircase would work, like width-wise. You also need that for the chairlift. Otherwise, it gets really narrow. You don't need it, but it would be good if you had that space. Maybe, you have closets you can part from that you don't need anymore in those spare bedrooms that could be reused. I mean, but that's really a question for an architect. It's not really something I do without the advice of
absolutely. No, you definitely need to get structural consultation, but the fact is that it may be possible. And I think a lot of folks, have lived in their home and looked at their home in a certain way for so many years with their glasses that just see it a certain way. And having that vision of what else is possible is really about bringing in a third party like yourself to.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a client who lives on off of Beach Drive, and she has an elevator. It's a beautiful house, very modern. built onto the rocks, and she's got 4 floors, and she's over 80 years old, and she bought it 4 years ago with her husband, who's considerably younger than her. And she said, if he hadn't bought that house, I would have not. If that house didn't have an elevator, I would not have moved in with him.
Right.
Well, I've had clients design a house around an elevator because they knew that
I believe it.
husband was going to have issues. He already had issues with his knees when he was younger. So, and it allowed them to live, I think they're for 20 years almost. So, okay. So how do we get in touch with you, Yanna?
Well, you can email me at yannakinginteriordesign.com. That's my website. And my email is yanna@yannaking.com. Or you can give me a call at 250-634-2531.
Awesome.
Or text me. Many ways to get in touch with me.
It looks like you're on Instagram as well.
Looks like what, Chris?
You're on Instagram as well. So if anyone wants to follow you, I'm sure you've got some great photos of your work.
I haven't been very active. It's actually something that is a New Year's resolution for me.
There you go.
How are yours coming along?
So start watching Yanna King's Instagram in the new year.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Awesome. All right, you guys. Well, it was great to see you, Yanna. I really appreciate you coming. I think this is very important, especially right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really enjoyed speaking with you about it and hearing what you have to say, the way you experience your clients. So that's really wonderful. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Yanna. That was great.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So along the lines of design, I thought what we could do is bring in a guest next week to talk to us about our curb appeal in landscaping.
We've been wanting to do this now for a few weeks, so I'm so glad this is happening. Next week.
Next week, coming up is Begum. She's going to be talking to us about curb appeal and landscape architecture. She's from Turkey, and she moved here a little while ago and has started her business up here. She does some big projects in Turkey, including like top end hotels and houses. So I think it'll be really good.
This will be really, really interesting. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this one.
Okay. All right. Have a good week.
Thank you. You too. And everyone else, have a great week. We will see you next Monday at 10 a.m.
All right. He said, she said, they said.
A real conversation in real estate.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye, everybody.